what do you call? I just sent it early. Was all.
That is so funny that you and me keep picking the same.
I could
fucking
change. I'll
background.
change mine.
No.
I
No,
don't.
because you
I
changed it
don't.
last time.
I don't like this one, to be honest. So if you like it,
Oh,
take
okay.
it. I try to take the one that's. I try to take the one that is the least enjoyable, so I give you the best one.
Oh, see, I was just like, that'd be kind of a cool background.
Cool.
Huh?
I'll change mine then.
Okay, mine's doing this weird flick thing again.
So you're taking that one. Oh yeah, I know which one I want. There we go.
Choose virtual background. There we go. I'm just gonna go ahead and do that one.
So
No,
something.
even better.
I don't even know if it's possible on your end. Your mic has been a little bit lower when we record. Okay. I don't even know exactly how you would change that.
What is going on with my camera? I'm just gonna go ahead and do that one.
So something. Here we go.
See, it's like when it gets like too much interference.
There.
Oh, I wonder if that's what it is.
What?
When I have the ring light on, that's when it does it. I wonder if it's something with that light. I'll just leave it like that. I'll be dark and moody.
Emo Colton.
Get my hair down. Mom doesn't even understand. I can't wait to be there in 12 years. Oh, God. Listening to My Chemical Romance just coming from Grace's room.
Oh, my God. Let's see. Does this work? This kind of works.
There's this really funny TikTok trend that was going on like a couple months ago where there was this black guy that did a acoustic thing. I can't remember what band it is. You probably know, but what is the lyrics? It's like, tonight is going to be the night what is it? Over and over again. Or they're like
the
doing
Nelly
that,
song?
Like,
the over and over again. And I can't keep picturing you with him.
That.
Oh.
That song is funny. I will always remember that song because my first tattoo, that song came on the radio 5 times during my tattoo session. Mind you, my first tattoo is the 2 on my ankle. I was in that chair for 45 minutes. 45 minutes, and I heard that song 5 times. Over and over again.
And I can't keep. Also, can you remember to put up Audacity?
Yeah, I got it up already.
Okay. In terms of notes, yeah, I kind of just go through the whole episode.
I think this is it. Who is this band? Fall for You. Secondhand Serenade. Okay, so are we doing the whole thing in Audacity then?
No. I just want to do. I'm going to do the intro, and then when we segue into the episode. I don't think I've ever heard that.
Never. I hung out with a lot of emo kids, but I wasn't emo.
Is this like My Chemical Romance?
It's Secondhand Serenade. Yeah, it's the same. I will fall for you over and over. Anyways, so there's this TikTok channel with that they play that, but it's like parents like our age, and it's like they're like here in the background, they're like, my kids finally hit the phase they hate me finally. Okay, so sorry.
Oh, let me email you the chat. Sorry, because Jen's in it as well. Hello, Jen.
Okay.
Good evening.
Hey, Jen.
Can I type it into Zencastr? Let me see here. I think I could type it into Zencastr. Look at that. Let me know if you get that. I have to go fill up my water, and then I'll be right back.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't realize we could do that. Hey, thanks, Jen. Okay, so do you remember? Did you hear Secondhand Serenade? Do you know who they are then? It's like that was like them and there was so many different of those bands that played or that my friends were all into. I can't even remember the other names. Ugh. And I am doing well, Jen. Thank you for asking.
Okay. Something I should have told you beforehand, but I kind of literally just thought it up. I've been thinking about it all week, but then I just realized a way to how to incorporate it into this show and this podcast is if you could think of any good remakes that has been made since like the era of remaking movies and reboots and because I want to talk a little bit about The Sopranos, but I'm tying it into Dexter. So
okay. I'm sure I can think it's. Oh, I know for a fact I off the top of my head I can come up with something. So yeah.
I didn't mean to like throw it on you, and it honestly doesn't have much to do with anything. It actually proves my point that we'll talk about it. But
okay.
All right, if you're good, I'm going to.
Did you want to do Audacity now, or did you want to do that at the end?
I'm gonna hit start recording on Zencastr, so we could just do it right now and get right into it.
Okay.
We are recording on Zencastr, and I'm gonna start my Audacity. And then I'll give you a heads up when we could turn it off right before we go into the episode.
Okay. You want me to turn on Audacity now?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, I got it going. Am I recording on it? Oh, well, hopefully it sounds good because it's showing really low on my end. So I haven't done Audacity in so effing long. So, no, I think it's reading me. It just seems kind of low. I wonder.
Well, hold on. I'm gonna stop my Audacity because that.
Oh, wait.
That has been the problem.
I wonder if I do this, and then we do that, and let me do it there.
Yes,
no.
There you go. Yes.
Yeah, better. Yeah, I'm messing with Audacity, and I'm able to adjust my microphone volume that way. So
yeah,
there we go.
Bump that up because I've been getting.
There we go.
Yes.
Louder.
Yes.
Good.
Perfect. And I can
right in that spot.
No, that's okay. Perfect. All right, I'm gonna re-roll on Audacity now.
Okay. Do you want me to restart mine? Like delete and restart?
Yeah.
That way we're at the same.
Yeah, dude, you're a million times better now.
Okay, now I'm talking right now. Is it lower or is it the same volume?
Keep talking.
I'm going to keep talking just so you can get voice level. Does it sound the same?
Yeah.
Or,
No, you're good. You're good.
Yeah, no, I'm going to have to mess with because Audacity's still up. So I don't want to exit out of Audacity. I don't want to mess up what we already have. I'm going to have to mess with my microphone settings after we record tonight.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to roll on Audacity in 3, 2, 1. It's okay if you are. He just needs to hear our quality and whatever, so.
Yeah. It'll be easy enough to.
Yeah, we're just going to get 10 minutes or so.
Okay.
All right, you're good to go?
Sounds good. I'm good.
All right. This is Victor, and now that he's done trying to find a bigger beer cooler for his boat, I am joined by Colton. Colton.
I literally have a note on that. That's awesome. No, but seriously, you gotta have a good sized beer cooler. You gotta if I'm gonna do $150,000 investment in a boat that somehow Dexter owns on police salary, I need a bigger cooler. I can't spend extra money.
And,
I gotta get a bigger beer cooler.
And you can't bring one on. It has to be in there already.
No. You have beer cooler, and then you have boat beer cooler, completely separate.
We are here to discuss episode 811.
Monkey in a box.
The penultimate episode of the Dexter series. Every season when we get to this point, it starts around 10 and 11. I'm just like, wow, I feel like I've been talking about this season for my entire life. Because it's like in the week in between, obviously we need that time. But it's just like, wow. Then we have one more episode and then that's it. This would have been literally the ending if I didn't drag my feet and did this earlier, or if Marissa didn't quit on me.
Quitter.
But we're at the penultimate episode, and before we get into the actual episode, there's two things I want to bring up.
Okay.
One, have you seen that they're the first
Squid Games? Yes, I have.
All right.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Just break it down. Go ahead and don't spoil it. Don't spoil it because we plan to watch it.
Worth it. Just so y'all know, totally worth it. First, I watched it the first night, and there was a whole that it's like, oh, I'm gonna sit down and watch Squid Games, and then it's and daylight. Yeah, I was up until 4:00 in the morning watching the first 5 episodes. So good. Can't recommend it enough. Very good show.
I'm gonna talk about it in just a second, because it actually ties in. Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm typing and texting at the same time. We plan to watch it. Marissa doesn't like anything that's not a feel good. Is it a feel good show? Because I don't think she's in.
Oh, absolutely not.
Yeah, probably not.
No.
Yeah. The first 4 episode titles of Dexter New Blood got revealed. Have you seen them?
Ooh, no, I did not.
Okay. Do you want to know what they are?
Yeah, go ahead. I mean, I'm probably not gonna be able to get much from it, but go ahead.
All right. Let's see here. I don't know why we're spinning a wheel, but we are. I'm going to go down from 4 to 1. The 4th episode is titled H is for Hero. The 3rd episode is called Smoke Signals. The second episode The second episode is titled Storm of Fuck.
Really?
Well, that's
actually okay.
That's what the leaks and everything say, and what's. I guess we'll know it's official soon enough.
That's kind of interesting for the show. It's different. I like that. Okay.
And then the first episode of the Dexter series is Cold Snap.
I like that.
So with those 4 episode titles in mind, tell us what you think this show is going to be about. I'm joking. Don't. I hate people who do that.
No, I can't say anything. I mean, I can maybe get an idea about something like H is for Hero. Dexter probably saves the day. Smoke Signals. Who know? I mean, maybe. Who knows? I'm not gonna. That's that.
No, I know.
Yeah.
There's too much to whatever. I just thought it was cool.
I don't want to be those people.
I know. I just thought it was cool having as we're getting closer to it, we're getting a lot more is coming into shape. Actually, something else I wanted to bring up. Have you listened to the new Dexter wrap-up podcast with Scott Reynolds?
I still haven't. I keep meaning to.
I gotta. If you're in the zone for more Dexter talk, absolutely go get it from the source. They're the legit official. I mean, you're talking to one of the writers, and the first episode had a bunch of people from Showtime and Michael C. Hall on it, and they kind of went through a memory lane of stuff about Dexter. I don't think you get too much insight. It is cool hearing some of the stuff behind the scenes. They kind of talked about how Dexter put Showtime on the map, and they kind of keep referring to Dexter being one of the first anti-heroes in television, which I guess what they did in a larger scale is they made the idea of being a serial killer a hero, the guy you root for.
Fair enough. Okay,
so,
fair enough.
So when they say that, they kind of really pat themselves on the back about it. And it's just, I think, oh my God, I can just go into a whole diatribe about something else, but I think with the way season 8 ended, left such a bad taste in everyone's mouth that you forget how groundbreaking it was at the time. I mean, it wasn't, serial killing used to always be bad, and now we're talking about Dexter being the good serial killer. Like, that's an oxymoron almost, you know?
Well, yeah, like I remember when Casey Anthony got off with the trial, like everybody was like, Dexter's got a new one. Like, I mean, it was crazy to think like that's like people are literally looking up to him in a way. I mean, they really are. Like, yeah, it's kind of weird. Even now, it's still kind of weird to think that.
And the second episode had, I guess I'll use their real names, Desmond Harrington, who is Quinn, Jennifer Carpenter, who is Deb, Eric King, who would play Dokes, and David Zayas, who was Batista. And that was another cool little trip down memory lane. It's so funny. All of them were on for multiple, 4+ seasons. Quinn was on for 5, but the rest of them were on for all 8. And what a large impact Eric King as Dokes had versus all of them. Like, you know what I mean? All he had was 24 episodes, and he was fucking major in the show. Yeah, that was a cool little trip down memory lane, and like some behind the scenes stuff. You kind of forget that they're actors, and they sometimes feel what we feel, but more so like when they read the script. You hear that kind of stuff. But definitely, if you just want more Dexter talk in your life, definitely check them out. My last thing here. Okay. So before we get into the actual episode, and Colton, we could go ahead and stop Audacity now, and we'll save it after.
Okay.
All right.
And
we'll deal with getting it to me later. So something where this is almost like a long essay talk. I have 2 things about this. One is recently, as far as last week, they released a sort of Soprano. It's called the Soprano story. It's called The Many Saints of Newark, and it was sort of it's a prequel movie to The Sopranos. For all intents and purposes of what we're talking about, it's more. They're following up Sopranos with more stuff. Breaking Bad did the same. Yeah. And in almost the same light, I can shell in here reboots and remakes. We're getting a Ghostbusters one. They did a Child's Play one. I guess you could consider Star Wars, but that
Star Wars, I think,
it was a continuation.
The continuations in Star Wars brought back more like the prequels. I mean, there was prequels before the Star Wars ones, but that's what made it kind of popular because since then there's been more prequels of other shows and series.
If we leave Star Wars on its own, I mean, just think about Candyman. I mean, I'm just trying to think of movies like that.
Star Trek,
Saw. I'm thinking of this year. There's been so many. Poltergeist. There was a 2015 one. Do you think it's Do you think it's a fair assessment to say most of these have been forgettable?
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So my next question is, I asked you this off air, and I'll ask you again on air. Do you think, not necessarily, see, I would have to rack my brain, but is there any reboot, remake, continuation where they jumped ahead, 10, 15 years later, that was as good or better than the original? Do you have one?
Yes, there is.
Go ahead.
I have an amazing one. I say it's an amazing one. I'm going to preface it because it's still going on and I haven't caught up with the new seasons. I have fallen off. But Westworld. Westworld was a good sci-fi movie. It was a very good sci-fi movie. The Westworld series is a kind of a remake. Okay, but they've taken their own license with it and their own artisticness with it. That first season of Westworld is by far better than the movie to me. So, at least to me.
So let me ask you this. Do you think most people who turned on episode 1, season 1 knew this was a remake or a reboot.
That
Because
I honestly
I
can't.
gotta tell you, I didn't learn until much later, and it's only because I listened to a podcast that they did about Jurassic Park, and Jurassic Park has some seeds from Westworld.
Yeah. Um, I don't know. Okay, I'll say it like that. I don't know. I did, but I also grew up in a household where we watched. Sci-fi was a big part of me growing up. My parents are really into sci-fi, so I grew up and I watched that movie as a kid. Like Yul Brynner was like, I mean, that was like a name that I knew probably when I was in like elementary school. So I guess it's kind of hard for me to answer that. Maybe not. I would hope that a lot of people would. Maybe 50-50. I'll say that maybe, but I might be skewing
Can
the
you
numbers.
name another one? If you have to think long, then don't worry, because it might be proving my point. You know what? Since you couldn't answer it right off the bat, that kind of proves my point, because my answer was going to be Jurassic World, where it was like an okay continuation, reboot, remake, however you want to categorize it.
See, but I just consider that still a sequel. I guess Jurassic World I consider a continuation. It's not the same thing.
And it's fair, but I don't look at that as Jurassic Park 4. Right? Because if it's the sequel, it would be because Jurassic Park 2, The Lost World, Jurassic Park 3. I just view it
That's true.
And it's not the same characters either. They're picking up the storyline. I guess what I'm saying is, let's be as a whole here, right? Because if you're talking Westworld, they took their own license, and you're talking, how long is that? 30, 40 years between the two?
Oh, something
Right.
like that, yeah.
So that's what I mean. Like, what I'm talking about is continue properties. Jurassic World, to me, is the only one that held up. So I say all of that to say this Many Saints of Newark, the Sopranos movie, and I'm not going to give any spoilers because it just came out last week, it kind of fell flat. And the only reason why is I think we were led to believe we were getting one story, and we ended up getting another.
Oh, really?
There's some enjoyment in it, but if you're like... So Roxanne, obviously, friend of the show, she's in the chat with us. She is probably as big of a Sopranos fan as I know anyone else, and... it was like enjoyable. It just fell flat. It's the best way I could describe it. You know, if you want to talk Sopranos on the social media, I'm here for it. I enjoyed it. It kind of was not what I expected, and it had me thinking, because all this week I've been having this conversation. Has there been any reboot better than the thing? And most people can name one or two, but if you think about how many reboots we've had in this age of bringing back old properties, if you could only name one or two, that's a huge failure as a whole.
My only other one is Star Trek. The reboot of Star Trek was... you know what? I don't even know if I want to say the reboot of Star Trek was better, actually. It was so different. It was good. It was really good. Like the very first of the reboot of the Star Trek movies was a really good movie because it was so different. I don't know if I want to say it's better. But see, that's it. I don't know. Star Trek is such a different thing.
But like to the overall point, when you talk about at minimum, if there's been 50 movies that fall into
there's
this,
two.
Yeah, I know. And everyone's answer may differ, but as a whole. So if I move all of this together to the point that I'm getting at, I think we're on the same page, me and you, Colton, in terms of we have cautious optimism coming into the New Blood Dexter season.
Yes.
So that kind of had me thinking, like, damn, how often does this work when you pick something up after a large portion of time? You know what I mean? And we don't have to, we've talked about the specific...
There's got to be money in it for them to keep doing it, though.
Oh, I think it's always because of money. Always. There's no... Why...
So you don't think... Okay, so you don't think it's because of the art, then? You think it's because of the money that's really the only... I mean, let's be real. I have no hope for the new Game of Thrones kind of that they're making. I have no hope for that. The photos I've seen, it literally looks like a fan fiction of Game of Thrones. It doesn't even look good. So, but now, I mean, that's just like, paparazzi photos and stuff like that. But the outfits they're wearing, like what I've seen, it doesn't, there's like... Okay, you remember, this is going to be a weird, we're going off on a tangent here, or I am at least. But you remember when the Lord of the Rings trilogy came out, right? those movies were amazing. The Lord of the Rings movies, there was this like life inside those movies. Like you could see like every orc's armor was a little different. Like there was like, it's like, I don't know, it was like you were really in that world. It brought you in. Then the Hobbit movies came along and it literally looked like they just kind of half-ass did it. Like it was not the same. There was the CGI wasn't as good. The world environment they built wasn't as good. And I feel like that's what they're going to be doing with Game of Thrones. What I've seen, it's like they're taking the idea of Game of Thrones and they're just saying, well, yeah, we could kind of put this outfit on them. They would kind of look like they're Game of Thrones, and let's just call it that. And then like that's it. And I feel like it's in the same thing that you're talking about with this.
So Game of Thrones and Dexter live in this special purgatory where it was at such a high at one point and at such a low, and the worst time to be at the low is at the end because that's all anyone remembers. I want to say this is our 11th episode of this season. I want to say every other episode we mentioned Game of Thrones because it just left such a sour taste in everyone's mouth.
They're right there. They're level.
So to answer your question about, do you think they did it for the art or for the money? I think it's always because of the money. I'll preface this with season 8. I've done enough research that I would 99% bet that the reason why we have the ending that we did was so that there was always a chance it could come back the way it's now coming back. There were specific instructions that the Dexter character cannot be killed off. So when you're left with that, it's kind of sad. And then that's what we know. How much more involvement did they have? So I think it's always because of the money. That's not to say there can't be a good story told. I think me and you doing this podcast are the only people living on Earth who don't do it for the money. Like almost everything you do in life is for the money or it's for enjoyment, right? So I think, like again, to bring it back to what I was saying, it just added a layer of cautious optimism that, if I was at a 5, I like, I'm now at a 4.5, just thinking of like, oh damn, this might, has this really ever worked? What's the last thing that did 8 seasons, or let's just say 8 movies or whatever, picked up X amount of time later and was really good to the fans, Just a thought that I had just in terms of the Sopranos movie just made me think of, and I watched Candyman too, and it's all these largely forgettable. You'll never go.
Wasn't all that great.
It was really well done. It's just they all these reboots and remakes. It follows the same trope. Like we're gonna give you what you remember, add a little twist, and you're never gonna talk about it a week after you watched it. It's just gonna go in one ear and out. Versus all these original properties, we all still talk about them. So that was my whole point on comparing the Sopranos movie to Dexter.
Okay.
Moving forward to the actual episode 811, the penultimate episode. You were having some discussion off air, and I'm actually going to do this so I could remember that this episode. Well, I guess I'll re-ask you right here. Is this episode better than the previous 3 we've gotten?
To me, yeah. This was actually, in my notes I even have in here, this was, had you asked me this 2 weeks ago, or a month ago, I would have been like, no, that's like the last episode's garbage. Watching it, taking my notes and stuff like that, I actually have a little bit of an appreciation for this episode. It's, I would say it's better. It's not the best, but it keeps you engaged, I think, is what I would say.
So I made the comparison to Colton. Your biggest sport is baseball?
Yeah.
Okay. I made the football analogy because it's the best example I could come up with, but I'll make the same example with baseball. Baseball, August, you're out of the playoff race, but you want to see what's left of the team. Like, are we going to have, do we have any strong points on the team for next year? I kind of made that example to Dexter where, it's the final 2 episodes and, you know what? Like, I know it's all done with. I know it's over. Can I extract some good from it? And this
Can I get at least a couple more wins? Can I at least see
right.
maybe get a couple more homers out of somebody? Yeah, I got you.
That's how I felt with this episode. It's like, oh wow, okay, I could see where some of the good is. That's not to say there are some pretty big blunders, but I am amazed at how bad those previous 3 episodes were to now when you get to this point, Monkey in a Box, there is some actually better stuff that happens. You know, it's sort of like you're the construction on a building. If your foundation isn't great, the rest of your building is going to be shit. The foundation here isn't the best, but we have some solid stuff in this episode.
Yeah. So
I guess we can get right into the actual episode. Let's see here. That's all my notes here. So episode starts off where the last one left off. Dexter is cleaning up Saxon's murder of Vogel. Dexter calls in the murder, and now all of a sudden Batista kicks out Dexter for working on the case because of their affiliation. Something I noticed in this episode, and I think I left off like 4 of them. This episode has an insane amount of callbacks to the rest of the series.
Yes.
We have a obvious one, and
I think it's. I'm going to see what you say. I think it's one of the things I have in my notes, actually.
we have Sylvia Prado from season 3.
That's it.
And very fucked up at the idea of Dexter killed her husband and now it's like, sell my house. Something else, and it's more of a long form stuff to talk about, and I think part of why this episode is better than the previous one is that we get a major, albeit sloppy how we got there, we have a major character progression in terms of Dexter. You know, Dexter the entire time was one way, and then over the course of this season, while it may not have been done the best, we get his turn, you know?
Yeah.
But I do want to talk about that, but that's kind of comes into later in the episode. In terms of the callbacks, I have so many here. Oh, let me discuss one more thing. Dexter selling his boat, and it's one of the first times it hit me that this was the final season. Because when you're watching this back in 2013, like the first episode ends, you're like, all right, I got 11 more. I got 10 more.
Right.
I got 9 more. 9 weeks is a long time. When Dexter is selling his boat, the guy makes a comment, and when me and Marissa watch stuff, and a character does something on the screen, we'll kind of go, "That's you. That's you." When the guy said this, I said, if Colton was next to me, I would have been like, "That's you, bro."
Hoping she'd have a bigger beer cooler.
Yeah.
It's like, yep, and let's move on.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's true. That's something I would look into if I'm buying a boat. So yeah.
So we talked with Slip. Go ahead.
I don't know if I would have said it like him. Like, who's this guy in Florida? But he has like a north, like a Wisconsin accent. He's like, I wish I had a bigger beer cooler. Go Bears. Sorry.
When we were talking with Slip, he kind of went over how much this season is a replicate of season 1, especially the villain.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of callbacks to season 1 in here. But where it really started to kick off for me, where I just started seeing all of the seasons across the time, and there's some I'm forgetting here. What started is Saxon goes to Miami Metro to try and clear his name. And the way Dexter specifically goes in for a cheek swab, which is actually... Wait. I'm flipped here. Yep, there we go. No. Reminds me of Jordan Chase from season 5. Sort of the same deal, right? later. I'm sorry, I'm reading my notes and now these are just scatter. Later in the episode, but Quinn and Deb finding out related to Vogel. Oh, okay. Later in the episode when Quinn and Deb find out Vogel is related to Saxon's related to Vogel, that the Trinity killer was related to Christine. I'm sorry, I have to reminiscent of season 4. I'm sorry, my notes are all fucked. The dinner they have in Dexter's apartment at the end of the episode, Dexter is wearing the same exact red shirt he's wearing at the end of season 2, where he's about to tell Deb he's the Bay Harbor butcher.
Oh, really?
Oh, and the biggest one is the way they take down Saxon at the end of the episode is just they're using the same lighting, the same method as season 1, getting the ice truck killer Rudy. Dexter goes to Rudy's lab. He gets prosthetics that makes it look like Deb's sleeping in his bed. Rudy goes to stab Deb.
Yeah.
And Dexter comes up right behind him, takes the thing, and right here, over here, it's flipped where Dexter's the one sleeping in bed, and Deb comes up behind him. There is so much more that I just didn't have down here, but the hurricane being named Laura, that starts to pop up in this episode. So they're definitely giving us a lot of, the hits, so to say, from previous seasons.
Yeah.
At the memorial, go ahead. Were you going to say something?
Well, I guess because of one of my notes that I have in this though, is of all the ways to connect the seasons though, and what you brought up is they have Miguel's wife, Maria, like of all the things like, I'm sorry, like of all the things, like why her?
I have, I have an answer for you.
Oh, okay.
Let me double check this. I'm almost positive. So Scott Reynolds went on to write for the show The Following that was on Fox. And I think she was on that show. So I think it was sort of like a, hey, can you come back to Dexter for an episode?
Oh.
Wait, is she on The Following? Hold on. I'm sorry. I'm almost positive she said she was. Yes, she was on The Following. She was on The Following.
Okay.
So Scott Reynolds, after he obviously wrapped up with Dexter, was also writing for the show The Following, which I believe was on Fox. I think that was a Kevin Bacon show. And she was also on it. So I think there was some of like, hey, do you want to like come do a 10-minute scene at the probably the same studio?
Film it in one day. Yeah.
I found it so odd back in 2013 where I was like the same way, like why her out of all people? But now I just listened to a podcast that Scott Reynolds did on season 8, and that's where I heard that.
Okay. It's just, I don't know. It's just kind of weird. It's almost distracting in a way because it was just like, really, like, I don't know. Because it's kind of like when you're watching, what is it? When you're watching a Quentin Tarantino movie, right? And Quentin Tarantino is like one of the characters in it. To me, everyone, maybe that's just me. Like everybody is always like, "Oh my God, there's Quentin Tarantino," and it's like, to me, it kind of takes me out of the movie for a minute because I'm like, okay, like he put himself in this, fantastic. And I guess it was with her. It was kind of the same way. Like nothing against her as being a bad actress or anything like that. It's just like it was like really thrown in your face, like, hey, look, it's her, and she's talking about her husband, and I don't know. It was just kind of strange to me because they haven't done that at all with any other season. One of the things we've talked about is each season's like its own individual thing. They never connect, and then all of a sudden with this, they decide to connect it that way.
And this episode just to me just has all these crazy callbacks. And then when they're doing that thing at the end where they capture Saxon, thank God they didn't do like, hey, remember how I got Rudy, the ice truck killer, your brother? Let's do that, like, because that would have been right here. So they have a memorial for Dr. Vogel, right? And I want to somewhat try and be more positive, so I'm not going to be like, why would all these people who barely knew her go to her? Well, we could leave that off. But afterwards, they go to Batista's Papa's Cafe, right? And Deb comes up to Dexter, and she sort of says, like, hey, all these people are going to miss you. Actually, let me play the clip here.
You know they're really gonna miss you, right?
I know.
Maybe you should go in there and pretend you're gonna miss them too. The last day,
So, something that bothered me, and part of what came to this is I went to go clip some season 1 audio for for the discussion they have later in the episode, talk about another callback. And when Deb is telling him they're going to miss you, and everyone's like, oh, Dexter, you're such a big part. If you remember season 1 and 2, and some of 3, the joy of the Dexter show was watching Dexter trying to fit in. He would play the hits while speaking to his coworkers, and it was this whole mantra of his to fit in. You never want to be he never wanted to be a standout, so he would say all the cheeky things, go Yankees, how's the weather today, right? And the pilot does this brilliant. The way he comes in, he's like, hey, the donut guy, remember? And everyone knew him as the right. And as the show goes on, Dexter makes it a point to be like, I don't fucking like any of you. Quinn is always trying to get on his good side. He fucking throws him to the ground. There's the dolphin tickets thing because he saw him stealing money.
Oh, yeah.
But as a whole, Dexter really has no friends or anything with Miami Metro. So
because I want to say he even says something bad about Batista in the first episode, doesn't he? Like something not like necessarily bad. I can't remember. I'd have to go back and watch it, but I thought he had said.
I don't know. He never really said any, because no one meant anything to him. It was more like, I feel bad for all these people. They have to go through these actual feelings, and I have to fake it, because there's this one of the cops get killed in one of the first, or in the early episodes of season 1, and Dexter makes a comment about how I have to hold this fake grin on my face all day, and my face is starting to hurt, because that's how fake Dexter is. He's just trying to fit in. As the show goes on, the show really loses that. It kind of morphs into, Dexter never went out with Batista like after season 3, the bachelor party, and that was it. So it's really odd when we're doing this stuff of like, hey, Dexter, we're really going to miss you at Miami Metro. They don't have any relationship. But it made me when seeing that and thinking about it, all it really made me do was just get kind of mad that the Dexter of season 1 and 2, which was this cheeky, like I said, trying to fit in, saying the weird things and just trying to blend in, they just sucked that out of the show, and that was sort of the fun. You're talking about a serial killer trying to fit in, and it's just gone,
Yeah.
And again, watch a random episode of season 1 or 2. Dexter trying to fit in with Rita, just trying to say the right stuff. I think Dexter Dexter tries to eat out Rita because he thinks like she's crying. That's funny stuff when you're learning about and that's Dexter not knowing any better because mentally mature. He's like 5 years old.
Because she gave him a blowy like the day before or whatever, and then he's just like, "Oh, she's crying. This will make her feel better." It's just like, no, that's not how.
So when I see some of that, like, I feel like everyone in Miami Metro knows Dexter now. If we're talking about 2013, as the guy who just does secret errands, like he's never around, he's always doing stuff. And then like when they toast him here, and again, I'm not harping on the idea. Like I know it's a show, they have to wish the character off goodbye. It just made me realize more that, like, damn, they really like lost a core element to the Dexter.
Well, this started happening though 2 seasons ago, because wasn't it 2 seasons ago with the Doomsday Killers, where this is kind of where it kind of started happening, where it's like, we can't touch the scene until Dexter gets here. Like he became like the rock star or whatever. Like that's where they really started happening, was in that, where I feel like they changed his
after. You know what? That's a good point. After season 4, you eliminate the Rita character, and season 5, Dexter is allowed to be weird because he's grieving over his dead wife. Season 6, yes, because all his free time is spent with his son
Mm-hmm.
and chasing down Doomsday Killer. They really removed the element of Dexter trying to fit in. He was just in. That's it. Like, he didn't have to fake it anymore. So, yes, that's why when we get to here and I think it's empty, I'm telling you, man, go watch any episode from season 1. And any show is going to change over the course of 8 seasons.
Now, uptick to possibly this, and if Showtime's listening, I hope you did it. We may get that again with the new season then, the new show. Because it's a whole new world, but maybe we'll see. So
the trailer absolutely leads you to believe that, and I think that's when Dexter is at the non-killing side. I think it's when he's at his best, when he's fitting in, and he goes, "Go Hawks!" And it's like that's so funny seeing Michael C. Hall do that. What a major thing, and I feel like we may have to leave this to the finale, is they graduate the Dexter character to, I don't need to kill anymore. I don't need Harry anymore. Does what happened at the end of the finale carry over into the new season in terms of he still doesn't need to kill anymore? Or did that somehow all get unraveled with how the death next episode? But we'll get there because that's a larger conversation to have.
Because I got to do some thinking on that then.
No, I know. So Sylvia Prado calls Dexter again, wants to meet the seller, and lo and behold, it's Oliver Saxon at his place.
I made a promise that I would do 2 non-bitch moments that I think really make this season or this episode. I was like, I will find 2 good things. One, opening cutscene where it goes from him like cleaning and stuff like that to then it flashes and it's the police everywhere. Amazing. That was a great cutscene. I was like, I really was. When I was watching, I was like, that's a really good cutscene. That's actually really good. I really like that. It kind of takes me back to the first season a little bit. Like, I was like, I liked it personally. It's kind of different.
What's the other one?
Not different. The other one is actually Oliver Saxon in this. The guy that is playing him is so creepy with his fucking eyes when him and Dexter are talking in the apartment. It's like he doesn't blink. I meant to go back and rewatch that scene to count how many times he blinked because I don't think he does. Maybe he does, but something about the way he does this, the dude, whether you like the brain surgeon as a bad guy or whatever, let's take that out of the equation. The actor playing him does a really good job, at least in that scene, of being creepy as fuck. Like, when you're making Dexter seem normal, you're doing pretty good. So
I
wanted to give a shout out to him. I think he did a really good job.
I think I am so poisoned by what this season had done that it knocked everyone's, except Jennifer Carpenter, it knocked everyone's acting down a peg for me. And you could be 100% right. I just don't see it. Like, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not even necessarily disagreeing with you. It's just this whole little globe, and this globe is the Dexter season 8, is that, like, I just can't. Yes, it's the best I could say. Like, I'm glad. I'm glad. That sounds like you enjoyed it, and that's awesome. That's the best. Like, you know what I mean? So he's proposing a truce, right? Where they both get to walk away, and this is sort of where we are getting Dexter graduating to becoming a whole person, where, you know, Saxon's like, I'm gonna kill your entire family, you know, and that sort of reminds Dexter, like, oh, this is why I can't walk away, because those are not covers anymore, right? And we'll talk about the graduation part of it at the end. I thought this part was a little crazy to me. Clayton suspects Deb is holding Hannah. Elway makes a visit to Deb's house, just sort of barges in, and this is what kind of
hold on.
Go ahead.
Because this is where I'm gonna complain about the show now, though. So this Marshall comes in and he's just like, so I was talking to the hospital and I got a question. They said you were there, and she's like, well, yeah, I took my nephew there, and they're like, well, they say, they looked just like Hannah. well, I don't know. Maybe she needs to get her eyes checked. Any marshal in the right fucking mind would be like, in their head, at least sitting there, detective, whatever. Like, okay, so Deb's a lying bitch right now. So they look nothing alike. They're not the same height. They have their only thing they're remotely in common is they're both white and they're both kind of skinny. Deb's way different body style than her. Other than that, they look nothing alike. Nothing. I can't even believe there's nobody out there that didn't like. Well, yeah. You know what? I'm just gonna wait outside for a little bit and just see like maybe if somebody leaves or not. Like,
So
that's I guess asking too much of this guy.
So someone made a post on Reddit this week that they were like 30 minutes into the first episode, or maybe 3 episodes, I forget, and the number of plot contrivances / stuff that would never happen, and he lists like 20 of them, and like one of them was like, nobody in the city of Miami. In Miami-Dade County, nobody has security cameras. And if they do, Dexter is able to hack it. So, to add to that, the hospital doesn't have any cameras in the lobby?
That's a good point. I didn't think about that.
Like, you would assume right there, they go to the footage, there she is, Hannah. And that's it. But... then you win the show. You win the show like 6 seasons ago if there's any cameras. So, more so, we've talked about it so much. We are in an alternate reality where there's no cameras. Dexter is killing for 94 episodes now, and ain't nobody got a clue. The
U.S. Marshals walk out the door. They walk out the door and they're literally gone before they can even turn on their cars. So
yes, again. So you're not wrong. It's just we have a different level of believability, which we've had for quite some time. Like this isn't anything.
Fair enough.
Right?
Fair enough.
I suppose he has a warrant to get into Deb's house when they're all going through her stuff there.
I would think so.
Because there's the whole, I guess it's the FBI. I forget what they had on their jackets, but just rifling through Deb's house. And that's what we get to is, hey, I'm going to tell the Morgans. That's how we get to our end scene to say. I found Deborah and Dexter have one less dinner together. And... despite the fact I've said almost every episode this season, Dexter is just straight up shitting on Deborah as a person. They have this little conversation about how they're there for each other. It was sort of talked about last season, and they talk about it a little here. The discussion of the code, but like actually verbalizing it, I found it... we're going to have big blunders with the way this episode ends. Let me ask you something. Do you think the biggest what do you have like the biggest like, woo, that's terrible moment? Because I have one huge one at the end. Or does none jump out to you? Is at the end with...
No, it's the end.
With Saxon and Clayton?
End with... Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Yes, okay. This one was number 2 for me, and it's more of the show as a whole. When they're sitting there talking and, like, hey, you're a good person because of this. And Deb's like, hey, it wasn't the code that made you good. Like, what are they, 40 years old here? Let's say they're 36 years old, somewhere between 35 and 40. These are adults talking about the code. Like, it just gets me so, like, I can't believe we're referring to this thing of the code, but being serious about it, And they made fun of it last season when the episode was called The Dark Whatever, the Dark Defender and everything. I don't know, it just felt so silly when they're sitting there. It's the way I feel. What's one of the worst superhero movies ever made? Is it Green Lantern?
Oh, man.
I'm trying to think. But it had to be the way one of these people felt when they were on set and they fucking turn around in a costume and be like, is this what we're really fucking doing? I'm dressing up as a green fucking Green Lantern here. Like, I feel like when they cut, I have to imagine Jennifer Carpenter and Michael C. Hall's like, are we fucking talking about the code? Oh
Well, it's
God.
like the way they even talk about that. He's like, "Well, we got to follow the code." And it's like the way they say it. Like, who on this set is not laughing at this?
Exactly.
Like, because it says like, "Well, I have to follow the code." It's not that. It's like the code. The way he says it, just I see what you're talking about. Yeah,
So
no, I can see.
Oliver's video, Dexter sent the video. He was able to get all of Saxon's videos, and Dexter, as a way to bait Saxon to him, releases the videos of him killing people, and it's on the news.
So
It's on the gas station TV as well, which, that's where we all get our news. And again, we've talked about it already, but how they get him is, Saxon walks in. We're going to follow the season 1 part here. First of all, go ahead.
And Slip made a really good point on his video about this, and it was something that I did not catch. And then once he pointed it out, it's so blaringly out there to me on this. Dexter even makes a point to say something along the lines of, he doesn't care who kills Saxon. He just needs him to be stopped. Okay. So why does Dexter leave his family to go stop him when he has this video evidence of who he is and can sit there and anonymously submit that to the Miami Metro saying, anonymous person tip, why send it to the news? I could just send it to them. They're going to have their proof, an anonymous tip that shows Saxon killing somebody. There they can get him. Why does Dexter have to go out and do this when he doesn't even, he literally says, I don't need to kill him, but he needs to be stopped. Okay, then why do it? Like, he's contradicting himself.
So, once again, mentioning Slip, he started saying notice how many times Dexter says he's going to kill Saxon. I was gonna make the super cut for this episode, but then I realized he may say it again in the finale, so I'm gonna wait for the finale. As of right now, okay. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 times of the course of the past 3 episodes, Dexter says in one form or fashion, I have to kill Saxon. I need to take care of him. Saxon's mine to kill 9 times. Only to at the end not. I mean, the way he thought it would end.
I wonder if he ever kills Saxon.
There is... when you talk about the big blunder at the end of the episode with Clayton not realizing who Saxon is, why not? It's almost like in horror movies when you're like, don't go upstairs because the killer's there. Like, I refuse to believe that this is how they would have handled Saxon. I guess you can never... They couldn't have pictured Clayton being involved, but let me say some other stuff before we get there, because that's the end of the episode, and there's some stuff I want to get to Saxon and Dexter's conversation before he gets there. So if we could hold that, so because that sort of wraps up the end of it. In the idea, I guess, somewhat keeping with the same fashion, Dexter, like we said, helps capture, gets Saxon, brings him to his lair. I guess I'm sort of repeating myself here, but it's just where it is in my notes. I hate the way we get here, but I do like what they were trying, that Dexter is not this fake cycle. Like, Oliver is supposed to be a clone of Dexter, shoehorned in the final four episodes of the final season, but his need to kill is gone, right? And just a silly way of, he doesn't have to kill Saxon, but he'll give it up to Deb. All this episode they talk about, all this past few episodes, Deb, we want you back so much, Deb. We want you back. You could fucking just say yes and you get your badge and everything. And Dexter says, I'm going to leave Saxon for you. You'll be the star of Miami Metro. Why? She's already a star. Yeah. Like, she's already, this is some season 1 shit.
She was the youngest lieutenant in Miami Metro history.
But season 1 was, hey, you got to think outside the box. You got to outsmart everyone. If you could catch this ice truck killer, you go from Vice to whatever. They're begging her every episode. I mean, remember how many times it was, I need more time. I need more time. Batista's basically on his knees. Fucking please come back. Like, it's just,
That's what I'm saying. No, she's already been like if I remember right, when she got the promotion, she was the youngest lieutenant ever at Miami Metro. Whenever she got it, that was like their big thing that they made. For her to do that, she's what she said. She's already a rock star. She's already made it. She's already done all that. She literally gets hired to become, not getting hired back to become a beat cop and have to work her way up again. She gets hired back as a detective. That's like skipping like 50 steps to get to that point, and they're hiring her back for it. So she has nothing to prove. I don't know. I'm agreeing with you. I don't get it. When he was saying all that, I was like, this is not making sense.
So,
and again,
with that being said,
yeah.
is the episode is titled Monkey in a Box. Is Clayton the monkey in the box here? I was trying, because
I don't know.
I was trying to. One last surprise. Like, this episode should have been titled Goodbye Miami. We get more. We end the episode with Dexter leaving.
I don't know.
I guess this is more like a poll question, but I usually I could put a Dexter episode title together. This just felt like,
Yeah, I don't know, because a monkey in a box is the like that whole thing, right?
I think that's Jack in the Box.
Scares you. Oh, well, then what is the monkey in the box?
Clayton? I don't know. Again, I think we've talked about it a few times already, but Dexter. What this episode, we get there a little lazily, but Dexter has graduated from the need to kill, right? And then even he doesn't need Harry anymore. Going back to the idea that this is a ice truck killer clone, this is episode 811, the second to last episode. We're going to give you Dexter the hits. I'm going to play this clip because I think most people know it, but hearing it back to back, to me, let me just play it.
I like this place. Miami's a great city. Love the Cuban food.
Miami is a great town. I love the Cuban food.
Murder solve rate at about 20%.
But with the solve rate for murders at about 20%, Miami is a great place for me.
Really well done.
That's lazy writing.
Well, really well done. If we just didn't find out, I think I just got your joke. Like, hey, literally, let's just copy from season 1. This is cool. If I don't know if you can make this cool, because this is voiceover we're talking about. Like, when you're watching it and it hits you, it's like, cool. That's a callback. But then when you think about it, you have the voiceover. I don't know. It just doesn't sit well. I know it's supposed to be like a really cool moment, but once I like sit and think about it a little, you're comparing voiceover to Oliver Saxon. You talk about this as a guy who moves a lot. This is a guy who is begging to be like Dexter, despite the fact he kind of is like Dexter already.
I haven't ever seen him even eat Cuban food. At least I saw Dexter eating a pork sandwich.
I think all we've seen him eat is tea with his mother. Yeah, it's just, and then so we talked about, right, Dexter and Deb just sort of decide to leave Oliver there just to hang out while Deb calls it in, and before Deb goes back in and gets Clayton and Oliver, Dexter and Deb hug it out, where and it still feels incredibly. Let me ask you again, because I'm sorry, I just don't remember. Do you feel bad for Deb, especially at this end scene here where they're hugging and she's like, "You could at least hug me"? Do you feel any like this really sucks for Deb? She got shit on. Because I feel like I've been holding this really hard for the last few episodes, and I don't know if you're there with me. Not that you have to be.
I'm probably not at the same level you are, but I definitely do feel bad for her because, like, I guess. Well, but see, I don't know. On this episode, I actually don't feel as bad because now she's back with scumbag Quinn. So she's not going to be as alone, I guess. So it's kind of already losing its like hearts, like the little heartstrings that it is pulling on me, like last episode. I'm like, well, yeah, but you all of two. Quinn's been single all of 2 seconds, and y'all are already back together. So, it does actually. I don't feel bad. I don't.
I feel bad because I just feel like they've I'm repeating myself already, but they spent the whole season repairing Deb, trying to get the two of them to work together, and like the second they make up, bam, and I think it just got like intensified here when Deb was like, "Hey, could you at least fucking hug me? Like this is the last time I'm ever gonna see you," and Dexter's like, "Oh, that's right. Come here. Cool, bro," and just leaves. And then we get the little moment where this is where I was wondering if this carries into New Blood, and I guess this is a better discussion to have in the finale of, Dexter, that need to kill is gone. He is better off leaving it to Deb and letting her, like, all of that's gone. Mm-hmm. I wonder how much of that is brought into New Blood. As our episode closes out, and I can't believe I forgot to do it. So like we talked about, Clayton sees Oliver for some reason. So the big blunder here is how does the federal marshal not know who the guy that's playing on gas station TVs is wanted for murder, because his murders are all over television. How does he not know it's him? So if I take that a step, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say you would think they would have an entire like all local law enforcement out there, like everybody that is out there would have been, what is it called?
APB, All Points Bulletin.
APB, yeah. Every single person in that area would have that. No matter if you're, I would think. I mean, I don't work in federal law enforcement or anything like that, but you would think federal would have that as well.
Let me take it a step further, where let's throw out the hypothetical where it's been hours since that video has been released and Clayton has not been able to see it, right? Because it's not like any time a wanted ban is in the news, every federal agent gets a zap about, hey, be on the lookout for this guy. Let's say crazy, he had no service, dead battery, problem with his cell phones. Reach him on Facebook. When he arrives, why does he untie him? Like that's where I guess this has been such a blunder for me for such a long time. I skipped right past it to like, wait, why does he have to untie him? Let me assess the situation. Like, hey, there's a lot of weird shit here. I'm not releasing
there's literally knives on the table right here.
And like, let's say the Morgans are doing heinous shit. This guy at least has a gun. Hey, let me see. Like, why the need to immediately unwrap him and, seconds later, stabs him? Mm-hmm. What I'm so pissed about, and maybe I'll do it next episode, it's just time. So Dexter has this whole speech. Do you know his ending speech where he's sort of, again, callback? This is the callback to the credits, right? When he's walking out,
right,
and he's on his what do you call that? The walkway, and the camera's just over here, and but this time
they've got their bags and all of that, and yeah.
Can you recall anything of his speech? Because if it hits you or it doesn't.
Nope.
Dexter is talking about how, he was in the dark for so long, and now he's in the bright, and now he, the light was so blinding that he couldn't see it. There are parts that I could intercut, and I'm going to. I just have to fucking remember. The Dark Knight Rises. Were you like a big Christopher Nolan Batman fan, or not really?
Mm-hmm. No, I was, yeah.
The speech Bane gives when he's like, "I didn't see the light until I was a boy, and it was blinding."
Yeah.
It's fucking, and they came out right around I think they're a year apart. Dexter essentially does the Bane speech. You think darkness is your friend. You think darkness is your ally and whatnot. They're very similar in the words they say of how similar the light was so blinding, and I was in darkness, and then once I had family and everyone, you could see. And the episode very cheekily ends with a thunderstorm, where we'll talk about it next episode, obviously, the finale, but it is Hurricane Laura. I guess the one good part they did is at least mention it in this episode so we don't get it like in the finale. Like a hurricane's a big deal. Like everyone will talk about it.
Wait.
Uh-huh.
Okay, you and me both live in hurricane cities, right? Like we both we know about hurricanes. You literally have hurricane parties, okay? Like I don't know if y'all do it in Florida, but I'm assuming so, right? Yeah. Okay, because the joke always around Houston is like if it like especially when we had this freeze that happened recently, people are always like, well, if it freezes, Houston like freaks out, but a hurricane's coming, we just buy up liquor and we party for a week. So when he's going to sell that boat and that guy is like, well, I want to get it out of the water before Hurricane Laura comes in. When Dexter's like, Hurricane Laura, like questioning, I was like, oh, dude, shut up. You know about that hurricane.
Hold on. To be fair, my wife always knows about these things before I do. Just a week ago, there was a tropical storm Victor. And I was like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. So I could maybe see when it's
but
that
this is
close.
Like 3 days before.
Yes,
this is
when it's
3
that
days
close,
before.
When it's that close, yeah. You've already decided to board up your windows or not. You have your water. You've already made all preparations. Yes.
Yeah, I've got everything at that point. 3 days beforehand? No.
So if I could somewhat recap, I again, I don't like how we got there, but I like the idea of we're an episode away from the finale, and Dexter is this person who doesn't need. He's great. Whatever his arc was supposed to be over the 8 seasons, this is at least the change of it. But like as soon as I can praise the show, they pull this shit at the end with the Saxon and Clayton thing, where it's like, God, you almost had me. But I think, and I think we share the same thoughts when we talk about the finale. I think I was going into the finale somewhat like, okay, this is not going to be that bad.
Yeah.
You know what? I guess I'll leave it all for the next.
I bet we got a whole episode to talk about. Yeah, we got a whole.
That's a big one.
We got a whole hour to fill.
literally the series finale. Yeah, a lot. Slip always has funny comments here. I'm just gonna this segment's called Reading the Chat. Jen is a Braves fan. That's right, Roxanne's an A's fan. Slip. Okay. I would believe Quinn not having a clue who Saxon is. Sorry, I was out with some chicks. You want to grab a beer at noon? I got a killer hangover. Tropical Storm Victor should have been the name in this. Just call back awkwardly to Isaac's lover instead of Dexter's mom. God. Oh, shit. Well, that's the episode, and in another timeline, this would have been the last episode of Digging Dexter, but, dude, should I change the name? New Blood. New podcast, Digging Dexter. No, I'm not going to do that.
No.
It's just funny. I just realized they are very adamant this is a special event series.
We'll see.
Forgive me. Do you have anything else on this episode?
I feel like I do, but no, that I can think of. It's not that important if I did. So
going back to the podcast with Scott Reynolds, it's almost like it is ingrained in them. They're not calling it a reboot, a remake. They're not calling it season 9. They all mention, and there's like a Showtime president that's on one of the episodes. They were very adamant in calling it special event series. Is this Dexter New Blood? Whether that means a continuation or not, who the fuck knows? We literally have no idea how it ends or how anything. But yeah, I guess that's it. If that's all we have for this episode, we could stop recording and then we'll take it in the chat. Anything else in this episode, Colton?
Nope, I'm good.
If I had a thunderstorm, I would play it, but
shut up, cunt.
Close enough.
All right, I stopped recording. Let's leave it up. I sent you the chat, right? Colton?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. Going into the finale is like a college final. You don't need to. Yeah. No, Jen, I wasn't actually going to change it out. I just was just funny because how they're doing it. You should listen to podcasts. It's interesting because of how much back padding they do. And everything they say is very true to like the first 4 seasons. But after, once I think they're everyone's trying to collectively forget about season 8. Is how like everyone talks. They're talking about their favorite moments. They're talking about how awesome it was, Michael C. Hall and John Lithgow. Everyone talks about the Thanksgiving scene where Dexter has a fucking knife to him and it, and everything. They all talk about how intense that day was, but then the cameras would cut and they would all start hysterical laughing. I've heard that multiple times. I never hear anything about season 6, 7, or 8. It's always those first 4 seasons. They always talk about people on the set and everything. I guess that's
when everything changed. But that's when everything changed. The showrunners changed. Like, I don't know. I kind of feel like it was just one of those things. They hit their peak, and then unfortunately, they hit their peak, and they could have potentially gone higher, but they brought in new people. They changed up. Scott Buck want to fucked over the whole show.
So Jen is, I think she's a little bit more optimistic than we are because she's saying it's going to be awesome. I think like my whole little rant I started out this episode with was I don't think any reboot remake has been good. I guess the best they can do is
not be as bad.
Yeah. Like just don't be season 8. Add a little bit more realism to it. If it's forgettable in a good way, great. Breaking Bad movie.
Yeah. It wasn't bad. Like, yeah, and I've said that. El Camino was not bad. Wasn't great. I'm not going to watch it again. Forgettable. But the entire time I watched it, it was like, okay, this is kind of cool. Mm-hmm. I do think they are going with a little more of a realism though, because I had said that when the first full actual trailer came out, something about the way it was filmed, something about what they were at least showing, it's a lot more intense. It doesn't have the campy feel that this Dexter has. And maybe it's because of the whole Miami thing, the colors and stuff like that. But I mean, Dexter's campy, which is cool. Like, it's part of what makes Dexter fun is the campiness of it. This doesn't seem to have that. And that can go one of two ways. Like it could go where it's like, okay, well, this is way too serious now. Because I think that part of the problem with season 8 coming in is I think that they tried to get too serious. They lost some of the campiness with it. There are campy aspects of the show in season 8, but I feel like they tried to maybe go a little too serious, but they didn't know how to go serious. Like, I don't know. I just feel like it doesn't work.
You're right that it got a little bit more serious. The problem is Dexter was never in danger of being in any. He was never
danger.
Yes, he was never. It was never a real threat. So when you bring a federal marshal, when you bring the person who knows him, when the departments were coming down on him, so it got a little bit less campy. They tried to make it more serious, but Dexter was never going to get caught. There was. I feel like seasons 1 through 4, we all had this image in our head. Man, the ending is going to be Dexter on the run and fucking helicopters up with shining spotlights on and everything. And at least that's the way I always thought of it. Again,
that was exactly what I thought.
I was a different television viewer at the time, and I say this every episode. But as the seasons went on, and I became so, I think I've said like season 6, Deb walks in. I was just like, okay. You're probably going to write this off next episode, where
sure
Deb is in love with him and everything. looking back, it's like, oh man, Dexter was never, ever, ever, ever gonna get caught. I mean, the series is gonna end with nobody besides Hannah knowing.
I legit think that the more I've thought about watching the last season, because I've actually been having my Facebook memories pop up recently, I didn't realize how many. Because I every time one pops up, I pretty much comment on you. So I'm just like, man, like it was like 8 years ago. I think it was 8 years ago, right? If I remember right.
8 years ago, 2021, 2013. Yes, math.
Yeah. So I'm not good at that. We already know that. But when I'm going through, I'm kind of remembering certain things that I was thinking at the time. And I do actually remember now thinking, oh man, if it ends with him on death row, that'll be awesome. That'll be kind of cool. Like him like in a cell, just like sitting there, like the last scene is like the gates closing or something like that. And he's just like, it was worth it or something, like some stupid little voiceover or something like that. And now thinking back to that, I'm like, that would have been horrible had they ended that way. But it still would have been better than what we got.
Yes. I think next week, our finale, it makes so much more sense with how much talk there is out there of Showtime did not allow them to kill off Dexter. So off the top of your head, if you can't kill someone off, what's the next thing you could do? Have them, everyone thinks that he's dead, but we know he's not in some remote land, and that's kind of the exact ending we got. I have to watch the finale, and I think we have to, because we could talk about the finale, obviously, but a big portion of what we're talking about is going to be like how much are they bringing into New Blood. And that I think one of the biggest, I don't want to say problems, but we have no idea what's Dexter's mindset when the last scene shows. When he's a lumberjack, we don't know. You know, we could think he's apathetic. He's, you know, I'm a piece of shit, and I'm just gonna sit here until I die. But then, how does that change into New Blood, right? So there's just like a lot of stuff to.
I just now realized we forgot to talk about some of the most important stuff in this last episode we didn't record. Oh shit!
What?
Masuka and his daughter. God damn it!
All right, I'm gonna restart the recording right now.
Like, why did they even put that in there? Like,
you know what? The only reason why I did not bring it up is she in the finale?
I actually can't remember.
I don't think she is. Because I wanted to.
Is this the last scene we have with her? Literally.
It might be. Because to my memory, this is off the top of my head. I can't remember the last time I watched the finale. It's the hospital. Saxon going around Miami. He cut some guy's tongue out to get his shit sewn up. The hospital again. Dexter goes back to his apartment, rides his boat over to the hospital that has a dock like every hospital in Miami has.
I was gonna say all of those.
Oh, and some Hannah.
Isn't the hospital Miami Metro? Like they just labeled it. I think it is.
Wait.
I legit think it's Miami Metro. Like it's the building. It's the same building.
No,
I think.
It's a dock. I had it up. Before we started.
Oh, okay.
I'll have screenshots that I'll put in the I'll put in my little thing that I do here with the episodes. It's a huge green screen. The hospital is all fake. You could tell it's all bad CGI.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember it being bad CGI. I thought they used the exterior building of Miami Metro.
There's another dock. It's somewhere else.
Okay. No, I do remember it being really bad CGI. Like,
Yeah.
You can see like the line around him and stuff like that. It's bad.
And there's Hannah and Elway. I don't see where they could insert. To be fair, all she says this episode is like, "I can't believe you're Masuka's daughter." Like, yeah, like awesome, and that's it.
No, it was even worse than that. It was, oh, I'm at a bar, y'all are drinking, but you gave me crap about smoking pot. Scene. That was it.
Puzzling at the very least of why that's in there.
I can't figure out. Did they have a contract with the actor that plays Masuko, and they're like, well, we have to have him. Like, we have to pay him no matter what. So, but we can't use him. Well, I don't know. Let's give him a daughter. We could go with that. And then, like, halfway through it, they're like, fuck.
But see,
what are we going to do with this?
He never did anything after season 4. They showed him, like, with the monster truck, and he had something to do with Elliot kissing.
I mean, he's kind of been, like, the comic relief, which is cool. But this season, he's not even the comic relief. I don't know.
This I'm glad we're not recording, because this is like where we are bitching, and we're not recording. This is stream, and it's only probably Roxanne and Jen listening to us bitch here. But I can't believe they didn't make him matter. Like,
about the pot, or
no, I can't believe they introduced her and did nothing. That's insane.
Oh yeah,
it's insane that happened.
That's what I'm saying. I really wonder if they had a contract with him that he had to be in it, or they pay him no matter what. And they're like, well, we can at least put him in to get some filler space, so we can, instead of just paying him, because they didn't have a story. In my head, this is what's going on. They didn't have a real good storyline. So then they were like, okay, well, we can do some filler stuff. Let's just give him his own story that's kind of separate, but that way it'll fill some time so we can get these 12 episodes. And then they were like, let's do a daughter. Somebody was in there talking about how they probably donated sperm or something like that, or they had a friend or something. But then they were like, that's a good idea. We can work with that. And then, like, 3 episodes in, they're just like, fuck, what do we do now? Like, this is not working out like we thought, but we've already written it in, and we don't want to change the script.
I guess. I mean,
it makes no sense. It literally makes
on the contrary. Much like Batista, and I guess Quinn, although Quinn comes more into the picture next episode.
That's what I'm saying. Quinn is a tiny little bit involved.
But what I'm saying is, if there was no storyline, if Batista got the same storyline he always gets, just like Masuka, which is nothing, would we even be talking about it? You know what I'm saying? If they just let Masuka have the one-liners, talk about this, give Dexter a hard time in terms of finding the brain surgeon, and Dexter has to outsmart Masuka, we wouldn't be like, why the fuck is this in here? We would just be like, hey, Masuka didn't matter, just like Batista didn't matter, just like Quinn didn't matter, just like the rest of Miami Metro doesn't matter besides Dexter and Deb, I'm glad we got this out now, so we don't have to dedicate podcast time to it, because it's.
I know, no, that's why I didn't bring it up. I have it in my notes to bring it up, but then there was not a spot to do it, and I was like, I'm not gonna do it. Like, it's literally gonna. He wasted time in the show. It's just gonna waste time on the podcast.
No, no, it's terrible.
It's so bad.
Oh,
I don't get it.
I have to give me 1 minute, because I have to download the tracks, and my internet starts to.
Okay, at least Jen agrees with us. The Masuka stuff's lame as hell.
Oh, I'd love to find one person out there who was like, no, I love the Masuka stuff. Hold on 1 second. Oh, nice. All my tracks are downloaded. Is Roxanne still in the chat? I think Roxanne is. Roxanne, if you're still in the chat, give me a holler. What else was I going to say? We have that.
I found another movie that is a remake that is better than the original, but I always forget it's a remake. Little Shop of Horrors.
See, that was my next thing, was like, if I almost want to put like a time frame on it, like 1995 to like 1980 to 1995 are the originals because, what's the movie that's coming out? Oh, Matrix. Like, that's another. We're doing a part 4.
That I
and
don't. That I don't understand.
Cause see, like The Haunting. Did you watch The Haunting of Hill House?
Mm-hmm.
That was a remake of the 1999 movie The Haunting with Liam Neeson. Liam Neeson, yeah. Liam Neeson and,
Really?
and Lily Taylor, and yes,
Yeah, I watched that because that's based on this a really good book.
The Haunting.
Richard Matheson. Yeah, by Richard Matheson.
yeah. So The Haunting 1999 was a remake of
Right.
that movie, which is off the book and everything. They take their own whatever from
License
it,
it,
but
yeah.
yes. So like, but like, it doesn't count. You know what I mean? Like, we're talking that long. Roxanne, if you watch The Sopranos, Many Saints of Newark, there's nothing I can't spoil for it. When it was over, and I don't know if you felt the same way about the Breaking Bad movie, after it was over, I was just like, well, I don't know if I needed that. Cool. I'm curious. I was waiting to hear from you because I thought maybe you would have seen it, but when you see it, let me know. And more importantly, absolutely send your notes for the finale. Jen, if you want to do that too, because that would be,
Great. That'd be awesome.
the world clearly needs more white guy opinions. Let's add some. let's at least diversify our opinions and have 2 other women send it in.
Bring it in to the digging familia.
Batista trying to be Vin Diesel. God. God, it's so bad. God, even the episode title, Remember the Monsters. God, no, I have to go into it positive because when we start bitching, I think we're unlistenable. And that's been this whole season.
I think we did pretty good. We didn't bitch that much on this one. We did pretty good, I think.
I did want to try and praise the idea that they provided an arc for Dexter. From season 1, he was this shell and everyone around him was facades. They were just meant there so no one looks at Dexter, and then at the end he only wants to be with Hannah, with how sloppily we got to Hannah, but sure.
Wait, Roxanne just said they're making a new version of the Lost Boys. They are?
I've never seen the Lost Boys.
What?
I think we did that last episode, right? I said I didn't see it.
I want to say like, oh my God, you're missing out. But now I think that Lost Boys might be one of those movies that if you didn't watch it as a kid, you watch it now and you're going to be like, what the fuck?
You know what I feel that way about? Indiana Jones. I don't like it.
I can see that.
I don't like it at all. And I love the Ghostbusters. I'm excited for this new movie. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Beetlejuice, like, I love those movies. Star Wars I didn't watch until I was 30, and I loved it. I enjoy it. I'm a big Star Wars fan now. Indiana Jones, I was like, this is stupid. I don't like this at all.
I can see that if you watched it when your first time watching it was later. One of my a friend of mine in college had never seen The Labyrinth. Have you ever seen that movie?
Pan's Labyrinth with David Bowie?
No, The Labyrinth with David Bowie. Yeah.
Oh, it's called The Labyrinth. It's not Pan's Labyrinth.
Well, there's Pan's Labyrinth that was from like the 2000s. That was like what? Guillermo del Toro.
Yeah, Labyrinth. Yes.
Yeah, Labyrinth with David Bowie's junk in it. Yeah. So
and your friend didn't like it?
They had never seen it until we were in college, and so it was like my sophomore year of college, and I was telling her about it, and it was like a group of us, and she was like, I've never seen this. She's like, I don't know what y'all are talking about. And she likes David Bowie. And I was like, oh my God. It was like, we've got to watch that movie. It's amazing. It's so good. And we like started it. We're like halfway through it. And she's like, this is the fucking most retarded movie I've ever seen. Like she was like, David Bowie's dick is everywhere. She's like, he's wearing these pants. He's over here like playing with a crystal ball. She's like, this movie's stupid. And she likes like out there movies, right? Like she's really into out there movies. She's just like, I don't understand it. turns it off, was like, I don't really want to finish watching this. Okay. We try to watch it again the next year, doesn't even make it halfway through. She's like, nope, it's stupid. She's like, I don't get this. But as I got older, and I was always like, how can she not like this? But then as I got older, I was like, you know what? If I was 25 and the first time I watched Labyrinth was 25 in like today's modern times, not in the 80s, right? But in today's modern times, I think that movie was stupid as hell too. Like, because it just doesn't, you don't have that connection, I guess. So
100%. I will say, now that I'm thinking about it, movies I've seen when I was older, that's another one I watched, maybe I was 28. I enjoyed it. I didn't love it, but I was like, I could see why this was a hit, and I enjoyed it.
Lost Boys is great. Don't get me wrong. Lost Boys, the thing that makes Lost Boys so good is, but see, this is something that you have to take it with, again, you have to take it with the times, right? When it came out, there was never a vampire movie like that before. There was one, never kid vampires, that was not a thing. And two, there was never such a thing as vampires running in packs. That was not like this thing. It was, vampires were just like these scary things in the distance, and that was it. And so when they made Lost Boys, it was this whole new world. It was like, oh my God, like I never thought about something like that. And that's part of what made Lost Boys so good. Like, plus, I mean, Kiefer Sutherland's amazing in it. Like, I don't know. To me, Lost Boys, it's really high up there. It's a really good movie. But I feel the same way about Interview with a Vampire. Like, I think Interview with a Vampire is a really highly underrated movie. Like, people like it, but I think it's underrated. Like, I think if more people really like took the time and like really appreciate it for what it was, then it would have a higher rating. Whereas people just kind of think of it, they're like, oh well, yeah, it's Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt. Like, I mean, there was sexy vampire. You know, that's it. I'm like, no, there was more to it than that. That was the first movie that made vampires have a soul. Like, before that, there was never a vampire that felt bad about killing or something. And then this movie threw that in the mix where it was like, maybe vampires could have a conscience, like this whole new idea and stuff. Yeah. But again, that's another movie. I don't think if people watch it until they're like older, they may be looking at it and just be like, oh, that's kind of stupid. Like, I hate that movie.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I haven't seen either of those movies, so damn.
Interview the Vampire is so good.
I feel like the only vampire movie thing I've seen is True Blood.
So bad. I hate True Blood.
I don't know what else I've seen.
But I hate that girl. I hate that actress, Anna Paquin or whatever.
Yeah.
However you say her name. I cannot stand her. Yes. And she's so annoying in that TV show. Like, the only thing that made that show worth watching was Edward Skarsgård. Like, that's it. He was the only thing that made that show good, because his character is just evil, and it's so good. It's so good.
I think I was watching it because at the time I was dating someone who was all into the vampire stuff and everything, and that's at the time when vampires were very in fashion.
That was that mid 2000s?
Yeah, late. Hey, when they say
2010s, around that.
When they say the aughts, do you know what they're talking about?
The what?
I've heard the 2010s referred to as the aughts.
I have never heard that term.
I'm gonna look it up right now.
I don't know if I like that.
So listen to this. The aughts is a way of referring to the decade 2000 to 2009. These arise from the words ought and not, respectively, both meaning zero. In the English-speaking word, a name for the decade was never universally agreed on, as it was for decades such as the 80s and 90s. So, one day, someone's going to say the aughts, and now you're going to know.
I thought we just referred to it as the 2000s. That's what I've always referred to it as. There's the 2000s, and then there's the 2010s. That was when you started saying 2010. Nobody said 2009.
So you're not wrong. I guess what I was saying is I started hearing the aughts, and they would be talking about like, hey, the aughts sort of kicked off with 9/11. So I was able to understand what they were saying. But it wasn't until right now when I was like, hey, I hear people saying this and I don't know exactly what it means. That's right there. I wonder if we're going to come to a point, it's going to be years down the line, and the aughts is going to take over the 2000s. I think what the 2000s have that the other centuries don't have is too many syllables. The 2000s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s.
That's weird you do it that way. I do the claps. I really do. Whenever we like talk about that, I'm like, well, how big is that word? Like Oklahoma, Houston, digging Dexter. I really do. I look so stupid when I do it because I count when I do it. And you wonder why I can't do math.
Oh my god! I've never thought about how I do it.
Meg does it that way. She does the just regular fingers.
I think I do tapping too because I'm doing tapping now as I.
Yeah, I do the clap. I don't remember where I learned that. But...
Saxon kills Dexter. Saxon 5. Colton Duffy. Victor Ruby. Oh, yeah. All right. Well, let's see. We got anything else going in the chat? True Blood. I think I watched season 1 and 2 of True Blood. You know, made by the same guy who did 6 Feet Under.
That's what made me so mad. Is and Dylan is saying it started out good. It did. Like I will say that True Blood, the first season's good. The first season's good. I don't remember too much how it changed by the second season, but I know it was pretty fast. It was like the second or the third season. It started going downhill real quick. And then their whole thing was they would get random like celebrities to be in it, where it was like
Rachel Wood.
Like, yeah. Well, and they had Christopher Maloney. And like Christopher Maloney was like his the guy who plays Stabler in Law and Order SVU.
That wasn't him. I think you're thinking of another bald guy. Was that Christopher Maloney? No, it wasn't.
Was in True Blood. Yeah, he was. Christopher Maloney was in, I don't remember what season, but he was in one of the seasons because he played this vampire that was supposed to be like one of the oldest. Yeah, he was supposed to be like one of the oldest vampires ever, whatever. And I was like, this is going to be awesome. And he like comes in and stuff like that. And like within like 2 episodes of him being in it, I was like, well, that character kind of sucks now. Like they just couldn't hold.
Wow. If you would have put that to me as a trivia question, I would have said no. That never happened. That's insane. I think I may have talked about this before, but I did friend across the pond, Sean, he did a podcast, The First and Last, right, where you talked about the pilot of a series and the finale. And True Blood is something I watched season 1 and 2. I don't even remember how it ends.
I barely remember how. I remember bits and pieces of how it ends.
I know they're all out of a family dinner at the end, the very last scene. But
yes,
I remember liking season 1. Because you know what? See, I was such a different television watcher because I remember because you were trying to guess the killer in season 1. I think I was such a sucker for guess who the killer is.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, and I swore it's this one person, and if I go back and watch, it's the person they make it the most obvious, which is how you know it's definitely not that person. 12 years ago, because I think that show is 2009. Wow, that's so funny. Now I'm the opposite. I'm like, oh man, this is all a dream. None of this is real. Damn.
Well, that's why Squid Games is really good.
Yeah, like I think that may be one I have to watch on my own because I think I wanted. Marissa was like, I heard it's not a feel good.
No, it's not.
Yeah, I think she's out on that. Marissa likes light stuff.
It is definitely not light. It is.
Yeah, she's
it
out.
Is definitely not light. Yeah, it's good though. It is a really like. I'm not trying to jump on the bandwagon with it, because it's all over the place.
Clearly, it's a phenomenon right now.
It is. It was really good.
All right, so let me ask you this before I sign off.
Mm-hmm.
Marissa goes to bed at like 9/10. I'm a few hours after her because she wakes up early. I wake up a little bit later. Her birthday is in 40 minutes. She's been sleeping for about an hour. Do I wake her up at midnight? I'll let the poor girl sleep. I let her sleep, right?
No. Yeah, let her sleep.
Yeah, I don't. It's not.
I know Meg. If I woke Meg up, she would be mad at me.
Yeah, she would fucking punch me in the face
There's
probably.
there's two things in this world that Meg loves: sleep and sleep. I'm definitely not one of them. So
I know I was gonna say, oh my god, is he gonna say Grace or Colton? Nope, it's sleep again. Hey, did you watch Ted Lasso?
no,
I don't think you watched Ted
Yeah.
Lasso. Oh, you have?
huh? No,
Wow. I
I haven't watched the last episode. It's the last episode, right? I haven't watched it yet. No, wait.
Roxanne just mentioned it, and it's something
Oh.
I've been thinking about to watch with. All I hear is
It is
people want to
it's
cry
it's
because
very
of how feel good it is.
It is very feel good, and it's a very good movie or TV show. Like both seasons are really, really, really good. Yeah, super British.
Roxanne. Oh yeah, I heard. I just want to see that scene where he does that dance that I see like all the gifs. Sorry.
Oh yeah.
Roxanne
It's-
said let her sleep in, so I'm going to wake her up, and I'm going to say courtesy of Roxanne. No, I'm not going to wake her. Roxanne said happy birthday. Hey. The tapping.
Happy birthday. I love you. Good night. And then she's up the rest of the night just staring at you because you interrupted her sleep. Just
Oh God. Well, I guess we will discuss during the week what day is good for. Probably end up being the finale. Saturday, right? It's either Thursday or Saturday. That works for me.
Yeah,
for
I think that'd
recording
be
the
good.
finale. Maybe
we
Saturday.
got to get at some point. We got to figure out how we're gonna start moving into Sundays though. So
I don't know. I think it's just Sunday nights and Monday nights are just going to be long for 10 weeks in a row.
oh god.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I just have to pray my baby stays asleep those nights because that just adds to it.
Luckily,
We have
Grace got her first pink eye.
You farted on her pillow.
No, she got a virus one actually, not bacteria. So it's even like kind of worse, but kind of better because better part it's not as bad, but the worst part there's no medicine for it. They just gotta heal. I thought pink eye was like universal, like it was shit in your eye. It turns out there's like multiple versions of pink eye. I didn't know that.
I always thought it was the joke associated with it.
I thought it was true. It was not
Isn't
true.
it
I thought it
contagious?
was true.
Oh, I have no idea if it's true. or
No,
not.
but this one is, but it's because of it's a virus. It's literally just a virus. That's like this. The version she got is a virus, so it's just this virus that it causes like little crusties and stuff like that to build up in the eye. She gets really lethargic. So work's been fun since I work from home. It's been great. It's been a blast for the last 2 days. I have like on the phone. Guarantee in the background you just hear the wheels on the bus go
Oh my
round
God.
because that's whatever I can do to keep her distracted. No, Roxanne, no eye drops, no nothing. They're literally like there's nothing we can do. They're like she's just got a hill. It's crazy. I didn't know that, but yeah, that's what you got to look forward to whenever that kid. Yeah, because he's not in daycare or anything. Oh my man. I don't envy that. Whenever that kid finally gets into public, you're just gonna get so sick. He's gonna get sick, and you're gonna get even more sick.
I think we looked at some prices for some of them, and then we were like, "Yeah, you're not leaving the house until you're 35. Like, we can't afford for you to go anywhere until."
It's so expensive. Well, I don't know what it is there, but we're in one of the cheaper ones here, and it's $280 a week for us.
That's like $1,000 a month,
$290. Yeah.
more than $1,000.
Yeah, good times.
The one benefit, I can't even say what the one benefit of daycare eventually, but if I can, I got the house to myself for about 3 hours one day this week. No, 2 hours. 2 hours.
Oh, that's nice.
Maybe the best 2 hours of my life. I was just fucking naked, one sock on, fucking drinking coffee on the couch. I was vaping. It just felt good. I was like, oh my God, peace and quiet. And I'm so glad my wife doesn't listen to this because she would. But she knew it was happening because they went out to eat. They went out to whatever. So when he does go to daycare and I play hooky from work and I just fucking sit home and stare at Twitter on my phone and waste all the time. No.
I'm telling you right now, best day of my life. My wife sometimes listens to this podcast, so outside of our marriage, our wedding, best day of my life, legit, was a couple weeks ago when I played hooky from work.
I'm going to be so jealous that I want to end the stream because it's probably so awesome what you did. Go ahead.
No, I played hooky. She went to daycare and my wife knew what I was doing, and I just sat and I played some games for a little bit. I took a walk, and then I ended up going to an Astros game, and I was just like,
oh yeah.
Yeah, I was like, this is so nice. This is amazing.
See,
I'm gonna do that again in a couple years. Can't wait.
See, you're so much more adventurous than I am because I would if I have the chance, I would stay home. And now with Uber Eats, I'd fucking get everything sent. This is like I don't even want to talk about it. It's gonna make me cry.
No, don't get me wrong. Like, everyone's different. I liked being late. Like, I slept in a little bit. I say a little bit. I still had to take her to daycare, but then I got home, and when I got home, I sat down on the couch. I literally sat there and I was like, I should be logging into work right now. And I was like, I'm homesick. I was like, I don't need to.
Let me ask you something. It's something I felt my entire life. When it ends / the next day, do you say to yourself like, oh, that wasn't worth it, or like oh, you feel a little guilty, and then weeks later you look back like, damn, that was a great day?
I literally woke up the next day and just was like, I sat down, I was on my computer going through my stuff from missing the day before, and in my head I'm just like, fuck, I'm like, that's a good ass day. That was a good ass day. Not guilty, not nothing. I
always feel guilty.
No.
I always feel guilty at first, and then it takes a week or two to be like, damn, that was a fucking good day.
What do you feel guilty for?
I don't know. I've never taken off work until I met Marissa. I was like that nerd in school that I always went to school. I never got sick. I was never like a sick person. So,
okay, I know I'm that I'm that way.
It wasn't.
I was the same way. Did not do anything. Me and Meg started dating. Our first month of dating, we both found out we were both like that, and we came up with adult skip day. And so we would do once a month for a while. We would skip work once a day. And then I didn't do it for a long time when I started my new job. And then, because with my new job, like, I collect hours, like our PTO and stuff like that. And I noticed I have like 290 hours of PTO. And I was like, I need to start using this shit. I was like, I'm gonna lose it. So, yeah.
When I first met Marissa, July, 5 months later, she made me like take a personal day. And it's not even like it was like me and her. She's like, take off work and stay home. And that's exactly what I did. I bought a bunch of treats the day before. I woke up, called out of work, and I just sat there and played video games until like 1 a.m. Like, I didn't, like, the ass imprint in the couch.
Yeah.
I had that. Like, I was sore the next day from not moving, if that makes sense. I'll do that again in 20 years if I'm still alive.
Let's just say I'll do this again in like a year or two. I don't do it very often, so it was nice.
That's the stuff we fantasize about now. Well, on that note, I'm going to call it a night. Roxanne, Jen, if you're still there, that guy, and Dylan, thank you so much for joining us.
Mm-hmm. Thank y'all.
Last week is the last week until 3 weeks later.
Yeah. Well, I was trying to do the poll to do the voting, and
we'll talk
I
about
couldn't
that
figure it out.
We'll talk about that.
Oh,
after
okay.
that. Yeah.
Well,
we can.
We're not on the recording right now.
Yeah.
No, we can talk about it off here. That's fine. We'll go to a meeting.
Yeah. I'll see you at the Dig and Dexter Studios. It's right here.
Can you imagine if we really had a studio and it's literally just like our background, like these photos just like all over the place? One of the age progression of Oliver Saxon. It's like the entrance to the headquarters.
There. That's our meeting. Let me know when you're here. Oh man. All right.
Oh my god. All right.
I'll talk to you, man. Later.
All right. Talk to y'all later. Bye.